Oh, her warning.
Yeah, this is a girl who says that man
well,
has trouble.
This did happen to me, and it was a he. And I went right ahead and married the guy, and it was Garrett.
Everyone knew Lucille Ball as the fiery redhead who ruled television and built an empire with I Love Lucy. But behind all that charm and laughter, Lucille saw a side of Hollywood the world never did. Power gave her front-row access to behavior so twisted it haunted her for years. Before she passed, she exposed 7 actresses, women she said were truly evil, not in movies, but in real life. Some were co-stars, others were worshipped worldwide, and each encounter left her with a story darker than the one before. Let's start with Joan Crawford, the Ice Queen herself, the woman who terrified Lucille Ball. Lucille crossed paths with plenty of difficult actresses, but none rattled her soul like Joan did. People saw Crawford as pure elegance, the living symbol of old Hollywood glamour. But Lucille, she saw through the sparkle. She saw a woman who hid cruelty behind perfect pearls and flawless posture. Lucille once whispered to a friend, "All she has is glamour. Underneath is nothing but ice." Their tension hit its peak in 1971 when Crawford guest-starred on Here's Lucy. From the second Joan walked into the studio, Lucille said she could feel the air change. Literally, the woman demanded the room be kept at exactly 68 degrees. Her chair had to be turned to a specific angle, and lighting adjusted perfectly to her bone structure. Lucille didn't argue. She'd seen diva behavior before, but what came next crossed a line. A young wardrobe assistant, only 22, brought Joan a dress with the tiniest wrinkle. Instead of correcting it, Crawford exploded. Witnesses heard her snap, "You are a useless little nothing. Toilets would be lucky to have you." The poor girl ran off crying, completely humiliated, and when Crawford demanded she be fired, Lucille stood her ground and refused. That moment sparked a silent war between them, one Lucille never forgot. When the cameras started rolling, Crawford was a different person, smiling, graceful, magnetic. But the second that red light clicked off, she turned cold again, her face blank like a mannequin switching off. Lucille later whispered, "I've worked with department store mannequins who felt more human." The world saw a legend, but Lucille Ball saw the frost beneath the diamonds. That wasn't just an opinion, it was a diagnosis. Lucille saw Joan Crawford not as cold, but as someone pretending to be human. She said Crawford performed emotions like lines in a script, never felt them. To Lucille, how a person treated those with no power revealed everything about their soul, and Joan failed that test completely. Even in her final days, Lucille still called Crawford truly, unmistakably evil. Then came Judy Garland, the beautiful chaos wrapped in glitter and heartbreak. Lucille never hid how she felt about Judy, and when Garland's name came up, her face changed instantly. It wasn't hate, it was disappointment, the kind that cuts deep. Judy's darkness didn't come from cruelty like Crawford's. It came from something softer but way more dangerous, chaos that consumed everyone close to her. Lucille had known Judy since their old MGM days. She admired that voice, that spirit, that rare magic that could light up a whole stage. But behind the sparkle, Lucille saw the wreckage fans never did. Missed call times, broken promises, and a trail of exhausted crews left cleaning up after her. Lucille once told a friend, "Judy was magic, but magic that burned the stage down." One story haunted Lucille for years. A TV director in the 70s told her about a shoot scheduled for 5 a.m. The whole crew was ready. Grips, lighting, camera, makeup, everyone waiting. Hours passed. Judy finally showed up at 2 p.m., glowing, apologetic, and when she performed, wow, 30 flawless minutes that reminded everyone she was born to be a star. But then, just as quickly, she sighed, said she was too tired to go on, and left the set. The next day, 3 crew members got fired because the delay blew the budget. Lucille's anger wasn't about jealousy or judgment, it came from experience. She had survived Hollywood by being dependable in a town ready to toss women aside the second they slipped. Watching Judy waste her gift while others paid the price hit a nerve she could never ignore. At a private dinner, Lucille said it straight. Talent doesn't excuse destruction, and with Judy she said, someone always got destroyed. Lucille never confronted her, but she made sure never to work with her again. Judy Garland wasn't evil on purpose, but the damage she left behind was real, deep, and impossible to ignore. Then came Ava Gardner, the beauty Lucille Ball once called savage behind the skin. What kind of woman could make Lucille say she enjoyed hurting people? That woman was Ava. Her beauty was legendary, but Lucille said there was something sharper hiding underneath. Beauty mixed with cruelty, a combination she called truly dangerous. Their feud didn't start from a simple misunderstanding. It started because Ava liked to target people she thought were beneath her. Lucille saw it firsthand one afternoon in the mid-1960s during an MGM wardrobe fitting. A nervous young assistant brought Ava a freshly steamed dress. There was the tiniest flaw, a slightly softened seam from too much steam. Most stars would have brushed it off, but Ava, she turned it into a show of dominance. Ava stared the girl down and said slowly, "Don't bother fixing it. You can't fix incompetence with more incompetence." The room went dead silent. The poor assistant froze, red-faced, fighting tears. Lucille, standing nearby, felt her stomach twist. This wasn't diva behavior, it was enjoyment. Later, Lucille told a friend, "Ava didn't make mistakes, she made victims." Things only got uglier. At a glitzy Hollywood cocktail party, someone casually mentioned Lucille's name in conversation. Without hesitation, Ava smirked and said loud enough for the whole crowd to hear, "Oh, the washed-up clown, she's still working?" Gasps rippled through the room, but Ava just laughed, sipping her drink like it was all a game. Her cruelty was polished, cold, and deliberate, like a weapon. Lucille believed Ava's beauty blinded the world from seeing what she really was. She once said, "If she hadn't been beautiful, no one would have tolerated who she truly was." The two women never made peace. Ava's beauty turned into legend, but Lucille's memories of her hardened into disgust. Even in her later years, whenever Ava's name popped up in an interview or a documentary, Lucille would mutter under her breath, "People have no idea what she was behind that face." Then came Bette Davis, the talent who, according to Lucille, cut people for sport. Everyone in Hollywood admired Bette's power, her precision, her brilliance, but Lucille saw the sharp edge underneath. She once asked privately, why does she enjoy hurting people so much? With Bette, there was no guessing or warming up. The hostility was instant, sharp, and unforgettable. Their most infamous clash happened at an industry dinner in the mid-1960s. Lucille was sitting just a few tables away when Bette suddenly went off on a young waiter who'd brought her the wrong wine. The entire room froze as Davis sneered, "Do you even know how to read a label, or is that beyond you?" The venom in her voice made even the toughest producers stare down at their plates in silence. The young waiter kept apologizing over and over, but Bette Davis didn't stop. She savored the humiliation like it was part of her act. Lucille sat frozen, stunned at the cruelty unfolding right in front of her. This wasn't a bad mood. This was deliberate, cold-hearted cruelty. Later that night, Bette caught Lucille's eye across the room and raised her glass with a fake, mocking smile. Lucille didn't return the gesture. She'd already seen everything she needed to see. Afterward, Lucille told a close friend, Crawford was cold, but Bette enjoyed the wound. And to Lucille, that kind of pleasure in hurting others was something she could never forgive. She had endless respect for talent, she lived for it, but she despised anyone who used their power to crush people just trying to survive in the same brutal business. She once said, "Greatness should protect people, not break them." Lucille and Bette worked in the same town, the same circles, the same golden age, but they stayed as far apart as oil and water. Even decades later, when Bette was featured in tributes and retrospectives, Lucille always declined joint interviews. She didn't want the fake smiles or the polite Hollywood lies. She wanted distance. Then came Zsa Zsa Gabor, the woman Lucille Ball famously called fake down to the bone. The moment her name came up, Lucille didn't sigh or roll her eyes. She laughed. It wasn't fear or jealousy. It was pure disbelief. Lucille didn't care about Zsa Zsa's beauty or success. What she hated, truly hated, was how fake it all felt. To Lucille, Zsa Zsa wasn't just dramatic or spoiled. She was a full-time performance. A woman who turned charm into a weapon while treating people like disposable props. Lucille's disgust for her started at a charity gala in the late 1960s. The cameras flashed as Zsa Zsa swept into the room, dripping in diamonds and furs, smiling like she'd just stepped off a throne. But the second the photographers packed up, everything changed. A polite volunteer tried to guide her to her table, and Zsa Zsa snapped, "I don't sit with peasants." Her voice sliced through the air, And Lucille, watching from across the room, felt her jaw tighten. That one cruel sentence told her everything she needed to know. Instead of just correcting the young volunteer, Zsa Zsa leaned in close, her smile sugary sweet, and whispered, "Sweetheart, you touch my coat again, and I'll make sure you never work an event in this town again." The girl froze, her face turning pale. While Zsa Zsa walked off like nothing had happened, Lucille felt sick to her stomach. She said, Zsa Zsa delivered that threat like she was handing out a compliment. Later that night, Lucille vented to a trusted colleague. "Nothing about her is real," she said. "Not the accent, not the elegance, not even the kindness." To Lucille, fake kindness was worse than open cruelty. It could fool people, disarm them, make them believe the mask was real. And that's what made Zsa Zsa so dangerous. Lucille said a fake person could charm the world while stabbing it in the back with a smile. And the scariest part? Zsa Zsa never changed. Even decades later, when she famously slapped a Beverly Hills police officer in 1989, Lucille didn't blink. She just sighed and said, "There she is, the real one." Lucille never forgave Zsa Zsa. To her, the most dangerous kind of evil wasn't the loud kind. It was the one that smiles while it stabs. That false sweetness, that performance of innocence. That's what chilled Lucille Ball the most. Now that you've heard the 7 shocking names Lucille Ball exposed, which one hit you hardest? Were you surprised by who she called truly evil? Do you think Hollywood still hides people like this today? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I want to know what you think. And if you love digging into the dark secrets and untold truths of classic Hollywood, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next reveal. See you in the next video.